Everybody, welcome to episode 395 of the Hoots Podcast. Comes to you live and in living color on this Thursday, January 11th, 2023. I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you who liked this video, subscribe to our podcast, which you can do here on YouTube as well if you're watching us live with this recording. And anybody that supports the Hoots Podcast over the last 8 years. It is me, indeed, the one and only nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. You can follow me at X if you want at the Hoots Podcast. We are 5 episodes away from episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to mark it down in your calendars right now. February 15th. February 15th will be the day that we do episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a major accomplishment for our podcast and video show that we've been doing for the last 8 years. Literally, I started this show a couple weeks after WrestleMania 32, and here we are on the road to WrestleMania 40. And we've been able to accomplish a lot of cool stuff over the last few years. I'd say it's 6 months or so, I've been seeing a crazy amount of increase with our listenership to the point now that we're currently 17,000 downloads and plays away from reaching 1 million on Spotify's podcasting place, which is really, really humbling to say that. And I'm very grateful to each and every single one of you who take time to check out the show, whether it's for one episode, for 5 minutes, the full length of the podcast, whatever you guys do to support this show. It means a lot to me. I'm not associated on any of these big networks. This is your ultimate DIY project. This is a wrestling podcast, but this is also a live podcast where I try to share some wisdom upon you guys and try to give you a different perspective, because we all go through our shitty days and good days and stuff like that. And there's a lot of like negative, toxic things out there that just try to bring you down and try to keep you to a certain mindset where everything is glass half empty, nothing ever is going to be good enough for you. And I understand that's some predicament for other people, but also I think it's an opportunity for yourself to not only educate yourself better, but also provide a different perspective, because one way or one narrow way of looking at things is not the way to go. And that especially includes professional wrestling, because at the end of the day, all this stuff is subjective. And it's always funny to me when I go like on Twitter and stuff and I see people like going insane. Like you could tell that like it's bothering them whenever a wrestler loses a match or something happens on one episode of Raw, and then they think that, oh, see, that's gonna be the end of Cody Rhodes' story, like we talked about on last week's episode. It's just the way the toxicity and the tribalism and everything that comes with being a professional wrestling fan in 2024, it's just really counterproductive. And what we've been trying to do with this podcast for the last 8 years is to remind you, like, hey, man, embrace this stuff. We have the greatest form of entertainment. Let's appreciate it for what we have here and take it for what it is. And I'm very grateful to have this platform, and the fact to say that we are literally 17,000 away from reaching 1 million plays for a show like this. That's not like on the Ringer or Sirius XM or ESPN or being a former wrestler, which is associated with Conrad Thompson's network. By the way, I'm not knocking those outlets, but I am speaking facts. The fact that a show like this is able to even reach 1 million downloads and plays, it's thanks to each and every single one of you. So we're very close, guys, and I'm seeing the numbers. This growth is there. I see the feedback, and it's showing me a lot, because there was a time last year where I kind of felt like the show's overstaying its welcome. But the fact that you guys are showing out in droves in the way you have been recently, it means the world to me, man. Like we've gone through a lot of changes. Obviously, for the better part of this past year, it's been just me again doing the show solely. Brother Carter has decided to pursue more personal ventures, and starting his new life in Arkansas and stuff like that. And I'm happy for him. I really am. But one thing I will always take away with this podcast is that the Hoots Podcast is consistent. I don't change for anybody, and I'm the same person you're listening to right now as if I'm sitting next to you and we're having the same conversation in the back porch setting. And that's what this podcast is. And I'm very grateful for this platform. And this experience and this project has been very rewarding, not only for me from a professional point of view, but also a personal point of view. So I just want to say once again, thank you for support. If this is your first time watching or listening to the Hoots podcast, I want to say thanks for checking us out. We drop new episodes each and every single Thursday, anywhere you get your podcast from. That can include Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, let's see, what else is there? Oh, Pandora, I mentioned Google Play. There's a whole bunch of different places, but I would like to direct you guys to the audio version of the podcast and go to the Spotify account and listen to it and go through. You don't have to listen to the entire thing, but play a little bit of it and then just go towards the end, and then it shows like the little green mark that says played. We need 1,000 specific Spotify listeners to qualify for ambassador ads. So if you'd like to see us have a longer future with this podcast and we're able to make some type of revenue off of this thing, please, if you can, check out one or a couple episodes. It'll literally take you 2 minutes. I just need... They have these guidelines now on Anchor where you need to have 1,000 Spotify listeners a month specifically to get ambassador ads and commercials and stuff like that. So if you that's all I ask. We don't have a Patreon account. I'm not asking for money from anybody. I'm not asking you to subscribe to our Patreon accounts or anything like that, or trying to pump out merchandise. I don't have any merchandise to sell. I just wanted to say, if you can do that favor for me, if you know somebody, just go play through a couple of episodes in our catalog on Spotify, and that really would help expand the reach of the show. Not only help us out financially, but also help us expand the reach of the show as well. So if you guys could do that favor to me, that would mean a lot. Also, you can you can subscribe to our show on YouTube at the Hoots Podcast. We are 4 subscribers away to reaching the 500 mark. So I appreciate each and every single one of you. You can subscribe on YouTube and see some of our old interviews and the beginning of the podcast when it was just me and Adam Daly recording the shows with each other. And it's been a fun ride, man. So 5 episodes away from episode 400. Like I mentioned last week, if you want to participate in episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast, all you have to do is send us an audio shout out. You could make that in an MP3 file, and you can send it to me at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. And these audio shout-outs could be as long as you want. You can say whatever you want. You can mention how much the show is meant to you, or just want to say congratulations on 400, or if any wrestling things you want to get off your chest, I'm open. But if you want to send any audio shout-outs, you can do that by sending me an email at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure I'm going to reach out to some of my main crew guys here on the podcast that have been here before or who have been former co-hosts and stuff like that. I'm going to try to see if I can get everybody on the show. But February 15th will be the day we record episode 400. And I just want to say again, thank you all for the support. On this week's podcast, we got to talk about the road to the Royal Rumble. Lots going on there in the WWE land. Then we'll take a trek towards AEW land, where the owner, booker, promoter, whatever label he's attaching himself this week, can't seem to get out of his own way. And once again, we have to put the spotlight away from the ring and what the hell's wrong with AEW to the real reason of what the hell's wrong with AEW. And we'll get to that. Talk a little bit about some football and the clown of the week. Got to do that as well. I want to say this really quick before we get to the segments and stuff like that, because this is our monologue, and I wanted to just express a couple of things to you guys. You know, I'm in really good spirits, and I know this journey that I've been on with the weight loss and rediscovering myself and the stuff I've been working on myself for the last 7 months, it's brought a lot of clarity to my life in the most positive ways, and I feel like I've grown spiritually and emotionally stronger along the way. And I also don't give myself enough credit for how strong I've been through the things I've overcome, and even things I haven't even expressed on this podcast before. You know, with someone like myself who lives with self-doubt, and being a content creator added to that, it could be a double-edged sword sometimes. Having this platform, being a kid who was shy and hid behind his guitar for half of his life, and then having an opportunity like this to come on here, not really give two shits what anybody has to say about what I look or sound like or whatever the fuck. I could come on here, I could be me, we could crack some jokes, and just have a non-filtered conversation. And when I say thank you for giving me this platform, I mean that, because half of the time with somebody like myself who deals with self-doubt, I never know if anybody gives a shit whether I'm here or not. And that's a terrible way to look at things, but I always say my biggest flaw that I ever had in my life is self-doubt. And I've been working on it. I think I've got a lot better with it over the years. And, I have a hard time trusting people and trusting things. But I feel like I made a lot of progress. And I feel like I'm in a place now mentally and spiritually and emotionally where, like, I'm accepting who I am and I'm proud of the man that I am becoming. And, I'm turning 30 this year. I'm really starting the foundation of what the next chapter of my life is going to be. And I've really been taking this time to really just reevaluate a lot of things from my past. I would say for the most part, I'm healed from a lot of the major things that have hurt me. But this week, especially in a lot of different areas, I've been able to attain a lot of clarity on a lot of different situations. And I just want to say I'm very excited for what the future holds for me. I'm excited for the rest of this year. Obviously, as you guys have been checking out the show so far, I'm very excited for episode 400 and stuff like that. But I just want to say, as somebody who deals with self doubt, having some like reassurance from people that matter the most to me, and some external reassurance is something that is making me very happy right now. So I just want to express that you guys have nothing to worry about. I'm grinding like I always have, doing some extra stuff as well on the side, and just really taking things one day at a time and trying to be present. So, you know, what's done is done in the past. Is that's really where it is now. But for me, like I got a lot of clarity this week, and I'm in a positive way, and it's something that we all need that from time to time. We all need a chance to take a step back and gain some perspective on things, and I've been able to do that. Even with some things that are uncomfortable at times, when you kind of reminded of things that either make you disappointed or things that broke your heart or whatever, I've been able to really like reevaluate a lot of those type of situations, and I think I've grown for the better for it, to be honest with you. So, all that being said, I want to express some things to you guys and just be like, if you're in a situation like I've been, where either you're unsure of like your value within your profession or how people see you personally, I just want to remind people that you have the ability to dictate what has true power over your heart. I want to remind everybody that nobody outside of the man upstairs, obviously, has more power of what's within your heart. Nobody's on a higher level than what's inside of your own heart. You know what's right for you. You know what makes you happy, and you are the person that will hold yourself down or push you forward. It's amazing how much we forget how much power we truly have within ourselves, but we choose to not acknowledge it at times because of the way that, like, our circumstances and our environment, and sometimes the way we're raised and stuff like that. And you have the power to make yourself happy. Are you willing to do that? And I just want to remind everybody, like, if you deal with some self doubt, if you don't know if you're good enough, or if you don't feel like nobody sees your true potential personally or professionally, you know, at some point, it's kind of like that David Goggins video. You just gotta say fuck them. If somebody doubts you, fuck them. If somebody doesn't see your true value and doesn't give you an opportunity, fuck them. Like, you gotta take what's in front of you and take control of yourself and understand the power that you have. Continue to work on yourself. And when doors open, don't look back. Never, ever, ever look back. I've, to a fault of my own, especially when I was in high school, I would cling on to things that happened in the past, and it did absolutely nothing for me. Nothing. Here I am now. I'm 29 years old. I'm the happiest I've been in my life. I am in such a great place mentally and spiritually, where I'm just like reassured, and I feel like weights off my shoulders. And that takes a while to really grasp that. Now, we're not perfect. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not. What I am, though, is somebody that's cognizant of my heart and my spirit and how I conduct myself and how disciplined I am about things that actually do matter in life. Are there things that I can work on? Absolutely. And I've been working on that for the last 7 months. And I'm seeing progress as the weeks go by. And I'm just very, very happy and grateful for where I am right now and what the next couple of months and years are going to look like for me, because nobody's going to stop me but me. It's kind of representative of what Punk said on Raw this week, where he's like, nobody's going to stop him from winning the Royal Rumble. Nobody's going to stop him from reaching his goals but himself. And I'm kind of carrying myself in that same manner. Hence why I'm wearing the CM Punk t-shirt right now. So, as I say that, I want everybody to take this moment and take a step back and ask yourself, why are you putting other people's perceptions of you on a higher pedestal than you see yourself? And once again, like I said in the beginning of the show, nobody has more power within what's in your heart. It's your story, it's your life. You dictate what's in front of you, not what anybody else thinks. And that's all I have to say about that. Last thing I want to mention here in this monologue is I want to send a big congratulations to my buddy Sam Piopo, my little bro, buddy of mine that I've known for almost a decade now. A guy I went to broadcasting school with. Sam Piopo announced this week formally on social media that he's about to be a father. He's expected to be a father. So I want to send congratulations to Sam and his wonderful wife, Hannah, and they're expected to have a baby soon. I heard about this a couple months ago, but I didn't want to throw that information out there. It's obviously Sam's right to share that information, but I've grown a deep bond. I would say a deep bond with Sam. We don't have the opportunity at times to hang out in person as much as I would like to, just due to our circumstances and work and all that other type of shit. And he lives, I don't even think he's in Illinois anymore. But Sam Piopo has been a really good confidant and a really good friend and brother for me, especially for the years when I was really down on myself, especially a couple years ago. He always been there to pick me up, and to have somebody like that has always been like reassuring and always been supportive with the stuff I've done with this show or the transfers, like stuff like that. I'm very appreciative of that, but it's also the real life and deep conversations that we've had that nobody knows about, and I've been there to help him out when he starts feeling down, and he's done the same thing for me. And I do consider Sam a brother, and I appreciate what he's done for this show, obviously. But more importantly, I'm very appreciative of the person he is, and I'm very appreciative of the brotherhood that we've been able to build over the last couple of years. So I just want to say, man, I'm happy for Sam, and I'm happy for his wife, Hannah, and Sam's going to be an awesome father, and could be happier for you, bro. So I just want to say, again, congratulations, and you're gonna kill it, man. I have no doubt. You are gonna be a fucking awesome dad, and you're gonna kill it. So I just want to say that really quick. All right, that's good. Good conclude our monologue there. I don't know how long this podcast is going to be this week, but we are going to put a rig on the roll here and get moving here. The last thing here I want to mention really quick is that um, we got a couple weeks out away from the Royal Rumble. I'm trying to figure out to see if maybe we could do some interviews. Maybe we could bring in some different guests over the next couple episodes as we get closer to episode 400. Again, for full disclosure, I don't know who will be on episode 400 yet. Obviously, I'll be there. But if you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions on who should make an appearance on the show, who you would like to see me interview down the road, and as we've been promoting and trying to throw out there in the universe over the last couple months, let's do this. Let's have this interview with my idol, CM Punk. Made a little Instagram video about it the other day. One of my goals, like I said, is to interview CM Punk, and whether that's to meet him, and we can do the interview in person since I live here in Chicago, or we can do it here through StreamYard or whatever. Any opportunity to have a real conversation with my favorite wrestler is one of my major goals, and Punk has had a profound influence on me, on my life, and the decisions I make and stuff like that. And it's just much more than just the wrestling and promos and all that type of stuff. I have a lot of respect for Phil Brooks, and I always have. Has he made all the great decisions every single time? No. Has there been times where I had been critical about him and the things that went down in AEW? I have. I'm not one of these weirdo fans that act like our favorite people don't do anything wrong. None of our favorites are Teflon, you know. Um, with that being said, I think that out of all of my colleagues within the wrestling media, I think I probably had the most objective perspective when it comes to Punk. And I'm just being honest about it. And I think that me and him can have a really productive conversation and try to bring something different to the table. You know, yes, for what I do to living, I make money doing play-by-play articles on a dirt sheet, but I am not a dirt sheet writer. I don't come up with bullshit. I don't come up with rumor and innuendo, and I sure as hell don't come on here and try to act like I'm smarter than people who actually work in the wrestling business. And I think that this podcast in general would be a great place for Punk to make him feel comfortable and let him be free without, hey, I got you. Let me hit you with this type of question. That's not my intention here. Really, I want to get to meet my favorite wrestler and one of my hometown idols. What comes out of that conversation comes out of it. But that's really my goal. So if you guys can hit up Punk on Twitter or on Instagram, let him know that he should be on the Hoots Podcast. That would really be like the Taj Mahal of our podcast if we were able to do an interview with him. And I would love to say that I'd be able to make that possible before we stop doing this show for good. So I'm manifesting it. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. But I want to make it happen. I want to make it happen for you guys, obviously. I want to make it happen for me. But I also want to make it happen for the show because I think the show deserves a type of conversation like that. And I think that a conversation with myself and CM Punk would be a little different than if it was on any other, dirt sheet or wrestling media theme-based podcasts. So I'm throwing out the universe. If you want to see CM Punk on the Hoots Podcast, throw it out there and let them know that you should shoot the shit with Joshie, and I would not try to hit him with some fucking rumor and innuendo nonsense. This is not a clickbait show. This ain't a clickbait show. This has never been a clickbait show, and it never will be a clickbait show. So let's make it happen. Let's have CM Punk on the Hoots Podcast. And speaking of the Hoots Podcast, when we come back, it's time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. And if you're wondering, I did see what happened on social media. I'm not going to talk about it in this segment, but we'll save the Jinder Mahal talk for what the hell is wrong with AEW. But there's a lot of crazy things that happen, like it does each and every single week in the world of WWE. When we come back, I'll recap it all and talk some things I've been noticing on social media and stuff like that, and get some takes out there, if you will. You get all that next right here on the Hoots Podcast. Welcome back to the Hoots Podcast, everybody. It's time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Let's start off with SmackDown this past Friday night. Friday Night SmackDown was in Vancouver, British Columbia, as we had the New Year's Revolution edition of SmackDown. And it kicked off with the finals of the number one contenders tournament for the United States Championship. Kevin Owens defeated Santos Escobar in a very good physical match to kick off the show. Logan Paul was on commentary during this match. This was to decide who his challenger was going to be for said U.S. Championship at the Royal Rumble PLE in St. Petersburg, Florida, later on this month. I was not surprised. Not by the decision, but I wasn't surprised by how good the match was. Obviously, Santos and Kevin are some of the best competitors in the world, non-company exclusive. So them being in finals, I thought was apropos for what they're going for. And whether you like Logan Paul or not, his track record and the things he's been able to do from an ROI standpoint, and that's return on investment for those who don't know. From an ROI point of view and the things he's been able to accomplish within the WWE is very impressive. And you understand why he's in the position he's in. And having Kevin Owens and Logan Paul on a card at Royal Rumble, it's just good business. And it's going to be a good match, too. We haven't got ourselves in this scenario where Logan Paul has had a match where you're just cringing or you want to turn your TV off or something where it goes so bad that he's unworthy of being hyped or built up to the level that he is. I get it. A lot of us who do content creation live and die by every week episode of Raw and SmackDown because it's so pertinent to the reviews we do or reactions or any other type of content like that. But as we always talked about here on the Hoots Podcast, I've been able to separate myself from that type of dialogue because for me, yes, I cover professional wrestling and I write down all the moves and transcribe the dialogue from these promos and stuff like that. But I'm able to have that delineation of covering the show and then watching it as Joshie the fan. And I have that delineation as well from noticing things from a bigger picture standpoint than just the instant, okay, this match didn't go the way I wanted to, or this promo didn't resonate with me that much, where I just jump to instant conclusions on an angle or a performer or etc. I think you guys are able to notice that I'm able to have a bigger picture standpoint. And it's not like I'm actively looking for things to say that things are great or things are bad. I'm sure there's aspects within the company that I'm indifferent to, and we could do what the hell is wrong with WWE segment, but I'm not trying to project a negative connotation here. When we do what the hell's wrong with AEW, it's a comedy segment. I'm not coming here and telling you that AEW is the worst thing that's ever happened. But also, when it comes to WWE, if I went that route and did like a what the hell's wrong with WWE, how would that separate me from the 600 other wrestling podcasts and YouTube channels that are out there that provide that type of content if that's what you're searching for? I speak off the cuff, man. I'm not here to play favorites. I'm not here to uh, put somebody on a higher pedestal that they don't belong on or anything like that. I am very cognizant of what's in front of me, and I don't really watch and analyze the shows as a fan anymore. I don't. I don't. I'm not in a position where you're like a Dave LaGreca who's so hell bent that Cody Rhodes has to finish his story at WrestleMania. I'm not at that point. Yeah, you guys know me. Like, I rock with the Tribal Chief, and CM Punk's my favorite wrestler, and like I'm a big Kevin Owens guy and stuff like that. But I'm never coming on here and be like, kind of like the Sasha Banks fans. Oh my God, Sasha Banks is the Shawn Michaels of wrestling. Sasha Banks is the greatest thing that's ever happened. Sasha Banks should win the Royal Rumble. Sasha Banks should win the main event of WrestleMania. Sasha Banks should have all the titles. We should make it a 3-hour Sasha Banks love-a-thon. I'm not that fan. And I've noticed that in the years that I've been covering the industry, where I'm able to take a step back and, okay, if something sucks, okay, we'll throw it out there. Also, I have the ability to actually realize that sometimes I don't need to give my opinion on something that I don't like. The best power that we have at times is the ability to say nothing at all. And the biggest messages at time that you can send in general, regardless of its entertainment, relationships, whatever, is saying absolutely nothing or doing nothing. Because you get your point directly straight to the point. I am a person at times that's blunt, for better or worse. I'm not here really to sugarcoat things. Um, I am a good person, but it's not really for me to come on here and try to pretend something that I'm not, where I'm trying to fit in and try to say the same thing that everybody else says on Twitter just to get likes and retweets and followers and stuff like that. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. This show is not a clickbait show. This show is not about booking. This show is not about useless dialogue and wasted energy. I'm not going to pop a blood vessel because, oh my God, Nia Jax is being shoved down my throat. Oh my God, I can't believe that LA Knight is not the odds-on favorite to beat Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Excuse me. Like, I'm past that, man. I'm just past it because one, it's counterproductive. I'm not gaining anything out of it. And three, I actually watched the show. So like I'll watch some shows here and there, and they're like, man, LA Knight's buried. Oh, LA Knight's losing momentum. Oh, LA Knight is his stock is so down that how is he gonna able to recoup over the fact that he lost to the Tribal Chief at Crown Jewel? Watch the fucking product. Is LA Knight in the Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship match at the Royal Rumble or not? You tell me. I mean, man, that really says a lot to kick off the year in multiple main events like it was this past Friday night in Vancouver, where it's Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. Very entertaining match. I've said it before. I don't think a promotion outside of New Japan does triple threat matches better than the WWE. Their triple threat matches are always on point, and this one was no different. But again, it's kind of the thing where, like, I think a lot of us need to work on delineating what's an opinion and what's a fact. And a lot of this is subjective. So I could come on here and drop every hot take known to man and try to do this clickbait stuff like everybody else does. But what am I getting out of it? Followers and views that I didn't earn, project a aura and a perspective and reputation of something that's disingenuous. That's not who I am. So I'm sorry. I'm not that person that comes on here and whines about booking, because Hey, Earth to Tony Khan, I hope you're watching this as I say this. Wins and losses don't matter. The stupidest fucking argument this week that I can't wait to talk about once we get to the next segment about wins and losses as a reason of why people should feel sorry for him. Get the fuck out of here. So let's continue on here. Some other takeaways from SmackDown. We had the debut of Karrion Kross's new group with the Authors of Pain and Scarlet. We had the legendary Paul Ellering making his return as well at the expense of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. No harm, no foul here. I'm happy that Cross is back on TV. I know a lot of people are very excited for AOP to come back. They're very popular and stuff in NXT. Um, I'm just glad that the Lashley and the Street Profits have something to do, and now that we can have more of a clearer idea of what they actually are and whether or not we're supposed to cheer or boo them. Like, it's not like this gray area now with Lashley and the Street Profits. So Cross and ALP beat the living shit out of them on SmackDown this past Friday. Now it's time to hand out some receipts and stand on business. It's the hurt business, if you know what I mean. So I'm happy to see Cross on TV. Some people like him, some people don't. I've always think the guy. Obviously, Scarlett Bordeaux is a tremendous all-around performer, and it's something different. So I thought it was cool. When I say this is my favorite part of the show this past Friday, no, but I thought it was pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. Io Sky retained her WWE Women's Championship over Mia Yim. Very good match. I was kind of trying to like a feel out process in the beginning part of it, but it started to pick up as the match went on. I was glad these two ladies were able to have some time. Sometimes with these TV time matches, it's very quick and very quick to the point. I thought these ladies had appropriate amount of time to tell the story they wanted to tell, but Io did retain. She's still your women's champion. Io was celebrating with Damage Control in the back. Out comes Bianca Belair. Belair saying that she's entering the Royal Rumble and then she's going to go and end Io's era at WrestleMania. Interesting thing as a lot of people are throwing out the question is Bayley still a part of Damage Control? Dakota Kai says if Bayley's the true leader, she needs to take care of Bianca. So tomorrow night on SmackDown, we'll have Bayley against Bianca Belair, and that should be a pretty good match. Now, this right here was my favorite part of SmackDown this week. If you want my honest opinion, I think SmackDown was a better episode than Raw this week. I thought SmackDown had more meat in the bone this week than Raw did, but this is one of the reasons why. So after the Io and Mia Yim match was over, Kevin Patrick went on to do an interview with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was standing in the background. You know, as the show started, you see the Tribal Chief arrive to the arena. Caleb Braxton's trying to get an interview. Hey, Roman, do you have any response to what The Rock said about you on Monday Night Raw? And then Roman does his condescending laugh. what the fuck? Get out of my face, you know. So, of course, we know that's how the Tribal Chief carries himself, right? But here's what Paul Heyman had to say. He says, The Rock name drops Roman Reigns because The Rock wants to sit at the head of the table. To sit at the head of the table, one must be invited to a dinner of relevancy. The Rock has not been invited, nor will he be, because The Rock is just like everybody else. He's looking for a shortcut to the headlines. There's only two ways in this world to guarantee going viral. One, date Taylor Swift. Good pop reference there. Two, call out Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins the match. Out comes John Cena. Roman Reigns wins the match. Out comes Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns beat Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is still talking about finishing his damn story. CM Punk comes back to the WWE after 10 years. He says, welcome back. CM Punk says that he's the OG Paul Heyman guy, which he is, till I upgraded from best friend to an advocate, then upgraded again from an advocate to a wise man. Then he said here, so he's tackling like 3 or 4 different people within a 2-minute span. This is how great Paul Heyman is at his job. Paul Heyman is probably the greatest orator or greatest on-air talker of all time. You can throw The Rock out there, you can throw Bobby Heenan, Stone Cold, et cetera, et cetera. But if you wanted my opinion, I think Paul Heyman's probably the greatest orator, the greatest on-air person to convey messages and stuff like that on wrestling television. He's just on another level. So not only does he attack 4 different side topics alongside of what's happening on that night's episode, where she says here, tonight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight all had the privilege of getting smashed by Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. And the one man who wins tonight will be smashed by Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. The same way whoever opposes Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania will be smashed by your tribal chief, smashed by the head of the table, smashed by the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, because there's not one man on the face of this planet that can beat Roman Reigns. Now, that's Paul Heyman's opinion. You throw out the question out there. Is there one person that you could buy that can beat Roman Reigns and also be able to provide the same type of business that Roman Reigns has been providing, given his limited schedule? But still, at the end of the day, money doesn't lie. Business doesn't lie. Roman Reigns is a draw. Are you able to be on the same level as Roman Reigns? That's why I put the title of this week's episode called Levels Above. He has a new hoodie out that says Levels Above. I want it. I'll rock it. You guys know me. I got the Acknowledge Me hoodie. I got that for myself, not as like I wanted people to acknowledge me. I got it because I wanted for myself to acknowledge me. I need to acknowledge myself, so Levels Above is kind of a similar concept too, because you gotta have that self-confidence. You gotta understand that nobody's gonna believe in you if you don't believe in yourself, right? And business doesn't lie. Roman Reigns is levels above a lot of people on that roster, a lot of people in AEW, a lot of people in general in professional wrestling. When it comes to being a draw, when it comes to being an attraction, a star, a storyteller, whatever other term you want to use, Roman Reigns is on a tier to himself. So we can throw out the question, who is that person to beat Roman Reigns? Is it The Rock? Is it CM Punk? Is it Cody Rhodes? Is it Seth Rollins? Is it your mother's ass? Like, who is it? That's the question. But Paul Heyman, man, is so good at these type of promos, not only to attack things that haven't been addressed yet, like kind of like The Rock and CM Punk coming back to WWE, but having the ability at the same time to plug not only tonight's main event, but also the Royal Rumble. And that is why Paul Heyman is the GOAT. We saw the SmackDown debut of Tyler Bate as Butcher and Tyler Bate defeated Pretty Deadly in a solid tag team match. I mentioned the triple threat match ended up being a no contest because Roman Reigns wanted to, just lay everybody out, kind of thumb his nose at Nick Aldis and be like, hey, man, nobody's going to fight me now at the Royal Rumble. Not so fast, pal. So Bloodline beats everybody up. Everybody's getting the beats. And Nick Aldis comes up to Paul Heyman, right? And he's like, once he's done celebrating, let him know and tell him, congratulations. You just got yourself put inside a fatal four-way match now for the Undisputed Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble against all these three guys. Nick Aldis is awesome, man. I am so happy for him. I really am. Following his background, I've had an opportunity to interview Nick Aldis before on my old radio show, The Pro Wrestling Experience, the formerly known as the PWE show. Um, I like Nick a lot. I think he's a cool person. He's somebody that you want to hang out with, somebody you want to like gain knowledge with, and it's probably somebody you probably would want to have a drink with. I don't drink. You guys know me; I'm straight edge, but it's somebody that you would even want to go to a bar and hang out and have drinks with. Like I would have water, he would drink whatever he drinks. Nick Aldis is just one of those dudes that you can relate to for a lot of different reasons, and I think he's been so good of being like, I'm not taking shit off of anybody. You're not going to intimidate me. What I say goes. This is my show. It's not your show. And I'm kind of curious to see what Roman Reigns' response is going to be this week on the show. I'm genuinely curious. He tells Paul Heyman after the show, hey, wise man, fix this. What does that look like? Where do we go from here? If you're Roman Reigns, do you try to attack Nick Aldis? Do you try to play mind games with him like you did with Adam Pearce? This is a big opportunity for even Nick Aldis to show more layers to his character within the WWE. And facts are facts, man. He's getting more of a broader reach right now for his value and whoever could come out of this general manager role than anything he's done in TNA or the NWA. I get it. He's a former NWA's World Heavyweight Champion, the real world's champion. He was the TNA champion. Had an amazing career so far. Still can go, can still wrestle and be a mainstay on the roster. But what he's doing right now and what could be coming as we get closer to WrestleMania and stuff like that, if what Drew McIntyre said on Raw this week about Cody having magical political powers, just think about this. Think about the fact that Nick Aldis could play an important cog to whether or not Cody Rhodes' story gets finished or not. And continuing tension between the bloodline and stuff like that. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen tomorrow night on SmackDown because we have had Roman and Nick Aldis interact with each other, and we saw how that went down. Do we bring that to the ring this time, or do we keep it in the Bloodline locker room? That's why we watch the shows. We got to see what happens. Let me go quickly through Raw this past Monday from Portland. We had CM Punk make his first appearance on WWE television for 2024. Starting off the show with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre's throwing it out there. Maybe it's time for me to step away. Maybe it's time for me to recollect myself. We all been going through this experience over the last couple of months with him where he's just like very bitter, very upset, very downtrodden over how things have gone and still fixated on becoming the World Heavyweight Champion in front of fans, right? That's the biggest thing in this guy's world is winning a title in front of fans because he wasn't able to do it when he was initially the champion during the pandemic era. And he's not letting anybody forget about it. And I don't blame him. I don't. I mean, on the surface, if you're just watching it for the first time and you don't know about Drew McIntyre's journey and you don't realize that even when he was a champion, there was people that are kind of taking him for granted and saying, oh, man, can they just get the title off of him? God, Drew McIntyre is so boring. Not even 2 months in this title reign, I heard shows that said that Drew McIntyre is undeserving of being the world champion and that this experiment's not going to last long. So when I hear the frustration coming out of his voice, I believe him. And he's justified to feel how he wants to feel. I don't blame him. But if you're not watching this show, you probably would say, man, enough of the bitching, enough of the feeling sorry for me and the woe is me stuff. I totally understand that. But when it comes to Drew McIntyre, I don't think it's ever been a question of whether or not he could bring in entertaining matches or believability or whatever the fuck. But we can't sit here and put a blind eye to the character work that he's been growing and getting better at over the last few months. He held his own again, even with CM Punk in the ring. I really enjoyed their segment to kick off the show, and it wasn't just because CM Punk was there, but with Drew McIntyre, he's not taking any prisoners. It doesn't matter if you're CM Punk or Seth Rollins or whoever the fuck. Drew McIntyre is going to talk his talk, and I don't blame him. He's doing some of the best work of his career right now, and whether or not this is all just a big ruse or some way to put in the minds of fans out there in the universe that Drew McIntyre is probably leaving WWE in 2024. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I wouldn't want that to happen to him because the notion of people just going from WWE to AEW and just going to be instant success is kind of a passe type of narrative, to be honest with you. It's not really rooted in fact. More times than not, it's more misses than hits if we're just being objective here. But again, you have Drew McIntyre speaking his mind about, Punk claiming to be a locker room leader and coming into the locker room and saying, hey, as the locker room leader, locker room leaders don't really have to say that the locker room leader. They lead by example. Now, like myself and other people who have played sports competitively on any level, have been in locker rooms and know what that dynamic is. I've been on football teams where people that just try to talk and try to be like a, hey, look at me type of guy, act like my shit don't sing. That's not a leader. A leader leads by example. And I thought he brought up some good points. And then you have Punk giving his retort. McIntyre called him a demon. I love this line. I do. And trust me, I'm all within my faith and everything like that. I believe in God. I believe in my spirituality and everything like that. But facts are facts. When pushed, I'm Satan himself. I'm a really nice guy until it's time not to be. And if that's not a testament of yours truly, I don't know what is. I am a really nice guy. I think I have a great heart. I think that I'm very empathetic and I'm very gracious and generous and very thoughtful with my friends and my family and the people I love and stuff like that, right? But also, I'm not a person that's going to sit here and take shit. I'm not here to please anybody. If you push me, you're not you're not going to like what's going to come back at you, because I don't sit here and if the energy you're bringing me is just like a wasted energy, or you're bringing an argument that I could poke a flaw through, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to laugh at you at the same time. I am a nice guy, but I'm not a nice guy to the point where you're just going to be a pushover to me and just going to talk to me and think that you're going to get away with it without any consequences. I don't roll like that. I don't give a fuck. I don't. Just being completely and 100% transparent with you guys, I don't give a shit who you are. If you are going to come in here and try to besmirch my integrity and character and think you're going to get away with it or try to get one over me, you're not. It's not going to end well for you. It's just not. So, again, there's another CM Punk thing that I relate to. And I just thought this was cool. So you get more layers to both guys' characters and their perspectives and stuff like that. But here we go. Here's another layer to what's making this probably one of the most anticipated, Royal Rumble matches of all time. Coming up in a couple weeks. And as we watch this journey of who's going to become the guy, who will be main eventing WrestleMania, who will win the Royal Rumble, who may be in the Elimination Chamber. You're seeing all these different stories of guys who can win or not win. Does Cody go back to back? Does Punk finally get that thing, that carrot he's looking for, that first step of actually doing what he's been wanting to do this entire time. Like Punk said on the live events, he's not there to finish his story. He's there to continue what he started. It's starting anew. He's finishing what he started. So there's a lot of scenarios to look out for. You know, Drew McIntyre is now in the Royal Rumble. Is this his last chance for a big opportunity at a world title at WrestleMania? You know, how does that affect Seth Rollins? I think Bobby Lashley declared himself for the Rumble this week. I'm sure Nakamura is going to declare himself for the Rumble after losing Cody Rhodes in the street fight this week. So I like that segment. I mean, what was your guys' thoughts? Did you like it? Let me know on social media. I'd love to see your guys' thoughts. Like I said, I wouldn't say Raw this Monday from Portland was bad or anything like that. You know, we had Nia and Rhea have their first interaction in the ring with each other. It didn't get to the point where the crowd were indifferent, so I thought that was a good thing. But I think more likely you're probably going to see Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax at the Elimination Chamber, and I have no problem with that. I don't think Nia is going to win the Royal Rumble, but I could definitely see these two having a match at the Elimination Chamber. From there, other things that stood out to me, Ludwig Kaiser this week wins the Maximizing Your TV Minutes award this week. He was fantastic. He really was. I'm a big advocate for Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser. I wouldn't say that I'm a mark for him, but I am an advocate of what he does, and I enjoy his work. So, yes, I would say that Ludwig Kaiser in the beatdown, absolute beatdown he gave to Kofi Kingston this week on Raw was fantastic. So, there was that. Also, I wanted to mention really quick from other stuff from Raw. Tommaso Ciampa again, victor of Finn Balor. No harm, no foul. That was cool. R-Truth's tribute to Judgment Day was fantastic. R-Truth, put him in the Hall of Fame class this year. Literally, make R-Truth a Hall of Famer within the current roster. Give him his flowers. R-Truth is a legend, man. He's immortal, as they say. What else? Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal. Okay. There's two aspects of the Jinder Mahal conversation that we need to have here. I'll talk about the productive and positive one here in this segment, okay? With Seth Rollins. Really quick, before I forget. Cody and Nakamura, I enjoyed the street fight. It was very, very physical. I could tell through social media, though, that a lot of people are kind of over this feud. I mean, the feud's only been going on for a month or so it's crazy to see how quick people are just over. I'm so sick of this. This is going way too long. Blah, blah, blah. Guys, it's been going on for a fucking month and a half. Are you kidding me? Do you see how long fucking feuds are for Chris Jericho and AEW? You want to tell me that Cody Rhodes and Nakamura are going too long? But that's another story for another time. Anyways, Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal. Yes, these two have history each other. They were in the finals of the inaugural NXT Championship tournament back in 2012, and Seth Rollins won the NXT Championship that night. I don't know about you guys, but I liked that segment with Seth and Jinder. And the beautiful irony, another one for you, Tony Khan. You don't got me fooled, pal. I see through all your shit. The beautiful irony in all this, the outrage, the questioning, the scuttlebutt about why Jinder Mahal would get a World Heavyweight Championship match on Raw next week against Seth Rollins without winning a match, without doing anything to deserve it. All the whining and bitching that we've seen this week. Think about the dynamic of what's going on in this segment, and think about what the dynamic now is going to be, given what this jackass cocaine advocate thrust upon us the other day on social media. Now people are more interested in seeing this match, and guess what? The match is going to be good next week, this Monday. in Little Rock, Arkansas. Jinder Mahal is going to put out a good match. I saw his appearance on the bump this week. The guy's got a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, I get it. He'll spoil to make The Rock look good in his return in San Diego. But I'm consistent here. I've always been a Jinder Mahal guy. I always have been. Always will be. You do not disrespect the modern day Maharaja. And when he says, and he's calling out people who are jingoistic, it's true. There are people within the wrestling bubble that are jingoistic. I don't know what it is about Middle Eastern wrestlers that seem to get the worst out of people on social media. It's like I never seen one Middle Eastern wrestler, maybe outside of Ali, that doesn't have to deal with people either saying something stupid about them or always shitting on their characters. And look, we're all wrestling fans. We've all grown through stereotypes and bad gimmicks and stuff like that. But especially the disrespect towards Jinder Mahal in a lot of ways is something that I just don't understand. If you don't think he's a good wrestler or he's not good on the microphone or stuff like that, fine. I get that. That falls into that subjective discourse. But if your issue with Jinder Mahal is the way he looks, the way he talks, and stuff like that, grow the fuck up. It's 2024. Get a fucking clue. That's all I'm gonna say about it. The fact that we have to even throw that out there is ridiculous. You know, for example, I've had my disagreements and criticisms over Mustafa Ali over the last couple years. Does any of it have to do over the fact he's Middle Eastern and Pakistan and everything else that he is? No, not at all. That's not even an option. I wouldn't even say that's the last thing on my mind because it's not even a thought of mine of why I would have an issue with Ali. My issue with Ali is that he was crying like a little bitch to Sean Ross Sapp and whining about his creative, making it obvious. Sources to the locker room say morale is low. Okay, Mustafa Ali had a bad day and he's upset about his creative, so he goes to Sean Ross Sapp and complain about it. Kind of similar to Athena. That's my issue. Not because he's Middle Eastern or looks different or sounds different. No. But why do you still do that towards Indus Shear or Shanky or Jinder Mahal or whoever the fuck are Middle Eastern wrestlers? Why we still have this fucking mindset from 2002 where we have to look down on people from the Middle East all over the stuff over 9/11? I lived through 9/11. I lived through it. It was horrible. But here we are in 2024 still looking down on Middle Eastern wrestlers or their gimmicks and stuff like that just because the way they look. It sounds like, give me a fucking break, guys. Like, seriously. I got the biggest smile on my face next week when you see the dynamic between Seth and Jinder. I won't say this probably be like the best match in Seth Rollins' world title reign, but watch. That match is going to be good next week, and y'all going to have to eat shit and like the taste of it. And I can't wait to see it. There's a thing that was plugged on Raw this past Monday that I want to show you guys right now. It's a little bit of a conversation that CM Punk had with Jackie Remit on the Jackie Remit Show, which was part on the NHL YouTube channel. I want to play a little bit of that conversation for you guys right now. And then I'll finish the rest of this segment with you guys when I come back. So let's play this. Here's CM Punk with Jackie Remit on the Jackie Remit Show.
You're back in WWE. The Royal Rumble is coming up. I want to ask you about your first return to Monday Night Raw before you got to address the crowd. You hadn't spoken to the WWE universe yet. I saw you that day. You chirped me about being a Leafs fan. But before you went out, you were all business. Was there any part of CM Punk before going out there on Monday Night Raw that was nervous?
100% of CM Punk was nervous. Returning to wrestling is one thing. Returning to WWE is like a completely different animal, and I didn't know how things would go. And it's not like I was off TV for a super long time. But you still, as a performer, you're still like, are they going to remember me? Are they, and I was legit like in an arena that had not been kind to me throughout my career. First UFC fight was in that building.
I didn't
So,
even realize
yeah,
that.
like,
Wow.
so I ran out of things, like bad things. Like a lot of bad things have happened to me in this building. You know what I mean? Got beat up here, but I think it was also like hugely cathartic because I'm very much a guy who, if you ask me if I'm ready, I'm going to tell you no, because part of the juice is being in front of the live crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the old guy on the ice now, where like I can stretch and I can warm up, and I'm not going to be ready until I'm on the ice, the whistle blows, and the puck drops. Now I'm ready. So
Yeah.
I need to be in front of the crowd, and I need to see the red light on the camera, and then it's like, okay, now it's go time.
All right. Well, Seth freaking Rollins, I have to ask about him. He has made it clear that he hates you. What do you think is the main reason that he is so bitter towards you?
Um. Hmm. Because I have been everywhere he has been, and he hasn't been everywhere I've been. So we're probably too similar. That's honestly the biggest thing that I can think of is we're very similar. And but the difference is I can talk about my career and not have to mention him. He cannot talk about his career without mentioning me. So I understand where he's coming from. I understand. I think he's always felt like he's the little brother, and I've never tried to treat him that way. I've always treated him like a peer, but some people you just can't reach.
All right. Well, I am very, especially after what you just said, curious to see how this all shakes out between you and Seth and the issues that he certainly has made clear that he has with you.
Hates me.
He hates. He used the word hates,
me.
and he was very serious. I mean, hate is
It's
a
like
strong word. But
Colorado
what
Avalanche
they say,
Red Wings,
Whew, that's going back. But you know what they say? You can't have hate without love. You can't hate because hate is such a strong emotion, right? They're two are intertwined. Indifference.
They're literally the same thing.
Okay, we could have a real philosophical conversation about this.
It's the same thing.
But I totally agree. And on that note, I'm doing a hard pivot to your Stanley Cup prediction before we wrap this up.
Oh gosh,
I can't not ask you that. It is,
I mean, you really
halfway
put
point.
yeah, it is, but man,
a lot can change.
A lot can change. I predict a Western Conference final between Vegas and Winnipeg.
Okay, love it. Helly and the Jets.
I mean, I just feel like they're like all the other Canadian teams, though. They've been like up and down and up and down, and sometimes they're consistently good, but it's just like they can't break through in the playoffs. So I don't know. And then for the East, the East is harder to pick.
It is.
I think
Rangers.
I
Bruins,
think. I mean, it's weird because I don't know. I don't know how they're going to match up either. Like,
yeah.
I could see the Bruins.
Yeah.
Bruins still got like to
you
me.
Can never count the Bruins.
To me, it's about goalies, right? And they got a wicked. And I said that because it's Boston. They got a wicked goalie tandem. So the East is just, I don't know. It seems harder to pick. I liked it when I always felt like whoever's coming out of the West was going to win the cup. And I feel like for the last, I don't know, almost 10 years, it's been whoever comes out of the East is winning the cup.
All right. Well, I appreciate the prediction. I also appreciate the bet, or maybe I don't. But I definitely, absolutely 100% appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this. I do appreciate it.
Anytime. We'll do it weekly.
Oh, okay. Don't tempt me because I will hold you to that. CM Punk, thank you so much. Cheers. Boom.
All right. Thank you to Jackie Redmond and the folks from NHL Network and NHL YouTube channel for that piece of video and audio there. CM Punk brought some interesting points there. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes the people or things you hate are kind of like a reflection of yourself along the way. It's interesting. we're gonna get into the road to WrestleMania very soon, and some of these promos between Seth and CM Punk are gonna be some top tier shit, and we don't even know what lengths that we're gonna go through from a storytelling standpoint within the promos with these guys. This is going to be different from CM Punk and John Cena from 2011. Hell, this is going to be different from CM Punk and Chris Jericho and the stuff about the alcoholism and stuff like that. This is going to be a totally different scenario once CM Punk and Seth Rollins start like really getting after each other with their promos and stuff. It's going to be a totally different vibe, and I'm here for it. It's going to be fucking awesome. You guys remember the lengths that Seth Rollins went to with the Matt Riddle feud a couple years ago? I think it may get even worse with Punk. When you say literally to somebody that you like hate them and like you make it, somebody's presence makes you physically ill, that's just a new level of hate, and I'm here for it. I'm kind of curious to see how that all plays out, but yeah, that's some of the stuff really quick I wanted to hit up with Raw and SmackDown, and then really quick from NXT, they started the Dusty Cup this past Tuesday. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker defeated Gallus in a very good match. I'll tell you, man, I really think Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker can be a good tag team. I'm not going to lie. I like the dynamic. It's a different type of pace. It's not high flying. It's, you know, you got two badasses in there, but Baron Corbin's so great when it comes to timing and sequences and counter moves that you got Braun Breaker, who, yeah, he does a lot of power stuff, but he also can do a hurricanrana here and a somersault plancha and stuff like that, and its speed. I like the dynamic of Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. I don't know if him and Dijak would be a good team because they're kind of both the same in a lot of ways. You know, I like the dynamic more because I think it's more relatable with Breaker and Corbin than it does anybody else that's on the roster. So I like what I see. I think this team could go the whole way with the Dusty Cup, and I'm glad that they're still doing that, which is a cool thing. And congratulations to Alba Femi, who won the NXT North American Championship this week, as after cashing his breakout tournament contract, if you will. But on that note, that is the note. We're going to put a ribbon on the bow there for this week in WWE. When I come back, it's time to get into what everybody's waiting for, what you need, what you salivate for. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, strap it down. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's start this bad boy off in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Your meat, beat, 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 your meat.
I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living in my time is now. My time is right goddamn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Everything.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Heavenly Father, God, please forgive me for what we're about to go through within the next couple of minutes of this segment here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of What the Hell's Wrong with AEW, aka What Isn't Wrong with AEW. As for those who are watching the video version of the Hoots Podcast, which you subscribe to right now on YouTube for more subscribers away to that 500 benchmark, by the way. Anyways, for those watching the video, you see this beautiful, beautiful portrait here that was made by our good brother Joe Cerna, aka Humic, who's a very talented independent wrestler out here in Chicago and a person that I went to the Illinois Media School with many, many moons ago. Look how beautiful that portrait is. Look at that. You got the whole cavalcade of everybody that's wrong with this grade C promotion. Look, you got Ray Charles Edwards, you got Punk there, you got the Hartley Boys, you got Kenny Olivier, you got Knock It the Fuck Off, you got Cutlet, you got Jungle Twat, Dan Clanson, and you got Pockets there. Oh, I remiss without mentioning Chris Jericho, which, by the way, Tony Khan, you want to talk about double standards this week. Aren't you the same person that's pointed out about WWE using, pumping crowd noise, yet everybody's booing him out of the building at Daly's place yesterday, so you raise up the volume of Judas so you don't have to hear the boos? But hey, let's talk about double standards, right? Welcome, everybody, to What the Hell's Wrong with You. I really don't have much to say about Dynamite last night because the ratings itself speaks for itself. I'll say that I liked the Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Short Strickland segment. I thought that was good. Out comes Hook. You know, they got the little bat signal now that they're doing for Hook. I kind of like the presentation of Hook and stuff like that. I think it's pretty dope. And I think that I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have an issue with Hook with what I'm gonna say in this segment this week. But here's a cold, harsh reality for Tony Khan and the AEW sycophants who act like this promotion does absolutely nothing wrong. Nobody within the confines of the internet wrestling community and the dirt sheet fucktwads know who Hook is. So, for Tony Khan to even have the gall to fall into the bait of tweets from social media accounts that are not even run by actual employees of the WWE, that this guy is so fixated on this imaginary war that he believes that he's in within WWE and AEW. You know, we have the AEW versus WWE war. We're a challenger brand. We're a disruptor. We're real competition. My ass. No, you're not. There's no metric within the business outside your fucking daddy's fucking pay. Outside your dad's fucking bank account is anywhere of competition. And given that, you think your dad would rather use some money properly on building a more sustainable football team or a more sustainable football club in the UK with Fulham? But no, his son needs to score his wrestling fix and his little diaries that he wrote as a teenager and outlive his fantasies of being a 25-year subscriber of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And oh my God, because I made a comment about Cage Match and all this bullshit, and now we got people poking fun at me for it. Now I'm going to be butthurt about it. I'm Tony Khan, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. Funny, we have this episode called AEW Dynamite Homecoming. We're back at Daly's place. The same venue where Tony Khan, before an episode on Rampage, did a video interview with Tony Schiavone to talk shit about Tony, not about Tony Khan, but about Nick Khan. Also the same guy who tried to promote Dynamite on a Tuesday by calling Triple H and Shawn Michaels bald assholes and got his ass whooped in the ratings the same night. By the way, this week's episode of Dynamite only had 90,000 more viewers than NXT this week on a regular week, with no John Cena, with no Undertaker, with no Cody Rhodes, with no Paul Heyman, with no LA Knight. And you mean to tell me that AEW is in a legitimate war, in a legitimate competition with WWE? Hell, they could barely fucking outdraw the third brand. A war, my ass. You got people justifiably calling out this squad each and every single week for his fucking ineptitude as a matchmaker, a booker, a freaking wrestling promoter, and a leader of men. How about that too? This guy is so freaking incompetent. I don't even know what else to say at this point. I feel like I'm a freaking broken record. So his idea of getting more interest and promotion for his upcoming show is throwing pot shots at the company that's freaking 3 levels above him. And guess what? We take, once again, another example of AEW taking the attention away from the ring and the performance itself all the way onto this narcissistic, spoiled, entitled, silver spoon twat. And his freaking Twitter fingers that mean absolutely nothing and amounts of absolute shit. So, excuse me if I have no sympathy towards Tony Khan, because he brings these issues onto himself. To legitimately use the argument over wins and losses, over the fact that people attach double standards towards his product when his whole fan base is nothing more than a fucking double standard. Nobody wants to have that conversation. All these AEW sycophants who act like they do absolutely nothing wrong, all they do is talk within double standards and talking out both sides of their ass. So don't sit here and try to tell me with a straight face that, hey, man, it's a good idea that Tony's riving up eyeballs towards his show by sending shots at the competition. It's not working. They didn't even draw 800,000 viewers this week. How is that working? How does that make any sense? All that bravado, all the arrows he throws at WWE, and he throws a freaking half-ass card on TBS last night. At one moment, I thought I was watching Dark Elevation. God, I can't forget the amount of AEW Dark and Elevation shows that I transcribed from Daily's Place for the years during the pandemic time. That's the vibe that I got from your flagship show last night. Great. Claudio Castagnoli had a good match. And guess what? Water is wet. Claudio and Heyman had a great match last night. And water is wet. Oh, Adam Cole's the devil. We're going to throw him out there and say the same exact thing he said last week. Everything that went on with the whole Brody Lee tribute, no harm, no foul. I'm not here to shit on it. It was what it was. We all miss Brody Lee. I miss Brody Lee. They had one of the best tribute shows to a wrestler all time. But with all the bravado and the aura and the arrogance and the ego that this guy carries himself through social media, just to promote shows like this, it's just laughable. How do anybody expect to take you seriously or your product seriously when you do that and look at the results? There's no return on investment. I don't care how much money the Khan family has. AEW's business means next to fucking nothing. And guess what? Everybody was banking on the fact that, hey, Mercedes Moné was going to be showing up to Dynamite last night. Well, guess what? Let's take the words here from Eric Bischoff to tell you what amount of impact Sasha Banks would have in joining AEW. Let's take a look at this shit. Sorry about that. I got the wrong thing here. I'm sorry. I put the wrong screen share. That's on me. I'm sorry about that. Let me go back here. I'll play this again. So again, let's play this from Eric Bischoff and tell you what the real impact Sasha Banks will have here in AEW.
What do you think that does for AEW?
Nothing. How many times have we seen big names come from WWE to AEW and people speculating about how it's going to impact the business and what's going to happen, and nothing happens. It doesn't matter who you bring in there. And I made the comment, I'm going to make it again. AEW is quickly becoming TNA. And I got nearly 1 million views on that comment. And out of the probably 500,000 responses, everybody, buried my comment and me along with it. But this is a perfect example of what I meant. We've seen so many big names come into AEW. Pick one. Let's put CM Punk off to the side. Pick any other one. And the net impact on the growth of the business, other than selling T-shirts, has been zip. Nada.
There you go. What else needs to be said? Let's continue on here. Sting and Darby Allin against Kanose Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobb in a Texas Tornado match. I get it. Sting made his debut there at Winter is Coming in Daly's place. I get the whole history. I get it. This is the Sting retirement tour, so this is what we're going to get most nights on Dynamite as we get closer and closer to Revolution, by the way, which is until the first week of March. So we're going to be seeing through a lot of shows like this for the next 7 to 8 weeks. I don't know how to feel about that because right now, Dynamite is so flat as a show to sit through and watch each week that it has that vibe of TNA on Pop TV. It's just there. There's nothing to write home about. So again, we go back to this tirade for this asshat, and he goes on these soliloquies about, oh my God, we have the greatest this, we have the greatest that. Tony Khan has got the Donald Trump verbiage and cadence down to a T. We got the greatest this, we got the greatest that, we got the greatest this, we got the greatest that. I find it so interesting that's the case because both of them are so inept at their jobs. But don't fret, folks. We also bring in some comedy elements, kind of like our Excrement Impression of the Week. Let's get to it. Coming to you live tomorrow night on TNT. It's another special edition of AEW Rampage. Here are your matches. First, we have the Dark Order in a trios match, taking on Daddy Magic, CLAHN Edge, and Jake Hager. From there, we have women's action as Hikaru Shida takes out Queen Aminata. From there, we have a grudge match featuring Swerve Strickland and Matt Sydal. And the main event for the AEW Continental Crown Championship is the champion Eddie Kingston against Wheeler Useless. More matches being announced on Twitter. Make sure to follow Tony Khan on Twitter at Tony Khan. Get all your tickets right now at AWTIX.com. Repeat, that's AWTIX.com. What a riveting opening lineup for Rampage. I feel bad for Eddie Kingston that he has to be sullied over the fact that Bryan Danielson isn't creative, and we have to have such a freaking emphasis on Wheeler useless every single week. But that's the lineup for Rampage this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are excited for it. By the way, on a positive note, I want to say that I want to give a shout out to FTR and the House of Black. I really liked their match from Collision this week. See, I can mention some positive stuff as well. But I know we pose the question each and every single week. We love to hear you guys' responses to this segment as we ask the question each and every single week. Folks, what the hell is wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Alright, folks, that is a wrap up for What the Hell's Wrong with AEW this week. All right, let me take this off the screen really quick here. All right, we're back. Hi, everybody. Before we get to our main event segment, which is the Back Porch Q&A segment, we do something that we do here in the Hoots Podcast each and every single week. It's called the CLAHN of the Week. And we got to give an award real quick and make some predictions for football this weekend. We got the wild card round matches going on. There's something I wanted to say really quick, and I'm going to make this really quick as possible because I'm sure you guys are really wondering my thoughts on the end of the Bears season and the whole press conferences that went on yesterday. I watched the entire thing. Here's what I'm going to say about it. Having doubled the victories from this time last year is an improvement. I'm not in the camp that believes that Matt Eberflus needed to lose his job. I don't know what message that's sending to people that you need to fire your coach every 2 to 3 years. At some point, you need to have some stability. So I know a lot of people in Chicago don't like the word continuity, but continuity does matter. As far as what's going to come next with Justin Fields, or we go with Caleb Williams, whoever it is, I'm going to let the process be what it is because nobody within this city, especially on these radio stations or the beat reporters, have any clue what the proper quarterback choice is or what proper quarterback development looks like if it slapped them in the face. And that's the God's honest truth. So I'm curious as anybody else what the Bears are going to do this offseason. We have a lot of cap space for free agency. We got the good draft capital. Obviously, we got some big choices we got to make, but I think this should be a very interesting and very productive offseason for the Chicago Bears. And hopefully we start turning this thing around because I'm tired. I'm really getting sick and tired of having to watch Bears and Packers game and us becoming a freaking laughingstock and us finding ourselves in a freaking fetal position every time we play the freaking Packers. Enough's enough already. The fact that we got whooped and just straight up bullied the way they were this past Sunday made me sick to my stomach this past Sunday. Embarrassing. We stinks. And that's what my thoughts are on the 2023 Chicago Bears. The CLAHN of the Week this week. Let's play the clip here.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big CLAHN. CLAHN.
One more time.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big CLAHN.
I got two winners of the CLAHN of the Week this week. One goes out to Jason Whitlock because nothing else needs to be said. The guy is a CLAHN. And then two are the CLAHNs that go out of their way to try to cancel Pat McAfee and their show on ESPN. You guys need to get a freaking clue, man. That's all I'm gonna say about it. The fact that people are trying to run this guy out of his job and the opportunity they have just because he has Aaron Rodgers on. Look, I'm not no Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm not gonna ever come on here and defend the guy. I think he is a little entertaining on the Pat McAfee show, but look, man, Pat's a grinder, and he earned the opportunity that he's at right now. So for all these little sycophant twats like Clay Travis and all these media heads, I think they're above Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee's not a journalist, whatever. Go stack marbles on the freeway, as my guy Andrew Maydal would say. That's all I have to say about it. Here are my predictions for the wild card round this week of the NFL. I have the Texans beating the Browns. I think Texans have a better defense. I think they'll get revenge on Joe Flacco this time as opposed to their previous matchup a few weeks ago with CJ Stroud was not playing. But I think Texas will get the victory here, and DeMeco Ryans gets his first playoff victory as head coach. I'm going with the Chiefs to beat the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a close game, but the fact that this game is in Kansas City, I have to be shocked to believe that Kansas City will not win at home, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs begrudgingly because I am not a Kansas City Chief fan, and I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan. Sue me. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills on Sunday in Buffalo. This is going to be a rout. No TJ Watt. Yeah, give me the Bills all the way here. Bills steamroll over the Steelers, and hopefully Mitch gets the hell out of that city as fast as possible. I have the Cowboys beating the Packers. This should be a good game, though, but I'm going to go with the Packers on Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday Night Football. This is the game for me that I'm excited for the most, actually. It's the Rams and the Lions. Matthew Stafford returns to Detroit, where he had a lot of his success in his career. That's where he got drafted. He was their franchise quarterback for a long, long time. And I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford former team. I have the Lions beating the Rams. This will be a good game. This will be a very good game. There's still a lot of players on that Rams roster that have playoff experience, so it's not going to be easy for the Lions, but this should be a very good physical game. But I am going to go with the Lions to beat the Rams. And then I have the Eagles over the Bucks in Tampa Bay on Monday. So repeat for the wild card picks: Houston, Kansas City, Buffalo, Dallas, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Those are my 6 picks. And I also want to say congratulations to Bill Belichick on a tremendous run with the New England Patriots. I know today was news that they decided to depart mutually. So I just want to send my regards out to Bill Belichick. Last thing we're going to do here in this segment is give you a little preview for TNA's Hard to Kill pay-per-view coming up this weekend in Las Vegas. Actually, it's going to be this Saturday for the Palms Casino Resort in Paradise, Nevada. We have the return of TNA Impact Wrestling. So on the pre-show, we have Rich Swann against Steve Macklin, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers against Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. No disqualification match for the TNA Digital Media Championship. It will be Tommy Dreamer against Crazy Steve. 4-way match. This one should be really good here for the TNA World Tag Team titles. It's Chris Bay and Ace Austin taking on the Rascals, Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, and Grizzled Young Veterans. How about this one? Josh Alexander against Alex Hammerstone. We have a Knockouts Ultimate X match where the winner will become the #1 contender for the Knockouts World Championship. It's Giselle Shaw, Xia Brookside, Jody Threat, Tasha Steeles, Alicia Edwards, and Danny Luna. A lot of former NXT UK talent on here. I'd love to see it. Dirty Dango will be taking on PCO in a grudge match. We have a triple threat match for the X Division Championship, which features Chris Sabin, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Kushida. That's going to be a very good match. Trinity against Jordan Grace for the Knockouts World Championship. And the main event for Impact at TNA at Hard to Kill coming up this Saturday is Alex Shelley against Moose for the TNA World Championship. My pick right here, I believe Moose will become your brand new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and rightfully so with this return of TNA. Moose is well deserved, and I think it's cool that he's getting this opportunity to main event this show on Saturday, and I think he will be the one to beat Alex Shelley and end his reign. So I'm going to go with Moose on that one. But those are my preview and predictions for everything going on in this world. And when we come back, we'll get to our main event segment here on the podcast this week, a segment that we do each week called the Back Porch Q&A session right here on the Hoots Podcast. Welcome back to the Hoots Podcast, everybody. Got one more segment to do this week before we head off here. I want to thank everybody who decided to watch the live version of the show. I appreciate the support. Each and every single one of you have been awesome. Appreciate those who continue to rock with us each and every single week. You guys make this worthwhile for me, and I do appreciate the support. This could be an abbreviated edition of the Back Porch Q&A session this week, since I only got questions this week from Chris Zaletta, the good brother Chris Zaletta at X Team Zaletta 24X on Twitter. Throw up the X for Chris. He says, "What up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Your thoughts on the presentation of the new TNA belts this week." I saw them. I thought it was a nice gesture from Scott D'Amore, but it doesn't make me any more interested or excited for TNA. It's still the same champions. There's a lot that has to be done for me to buy into this new era of TNA. I need to watch it first before giving my thoughts on it. But some of the titles, the designs look pretty cool, so I'll say that. Did the Bears select or trade the first overall pick? I'm going to say the Bears select, actually. There has to be something where we're going to get like 3 or 4 first-round picks or somebody to see Ryan Poles make a trade again with that number 1 pick. I don't think he's going to do that 2 years in a row, so he's going to have to be convinced otherwise to see what happens. When do you see MJF returning? End of May? Honestly, I think MJF will probably be back by Revolution or at the end of the show or something. I don't know how long he's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be that long. But I'm going to say probably Revolution. That's my guess. Thoughts on some of the news around some of the firings in the NFL? Well, I saw that Luke Getsy got sent out of town this week, so that was apropos. Did not see the Pete Carroll news coming. I did not see that coming at all. I didn't see Nick Saban retiring this week either. It's been a crazy sports week. Let's see. Ron Rivera, of course, I saw that one coming a mile away. Arthur Smith, which, by the way, won last week's CLAHN of the Week, ended up being fired, which is so apropos. But yeah, those are some of the thoughts on the top of my head. I'm very curious to see what the Bears do for their next offensive coordinator. A lot of people are hyping up Shane Waldron, who was the offensive coordinator with the Seahawks for a while. So we'll see what happens there. Which tag team wins the Dusty Cup? I'm going with Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. I'm going with Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. I think they're going to go all the way and win it. Does any coaching change happen in Pittsburgh, Dallas, or Philly after this weekend? No, and no. Now, if Dallas gets blown out and lose at home to Green Bay, then I can see it being justifiable of Mike McCarthy getting fired. But outside of that scenario, Chris, no to all 3. Who in AEW and WWE jump into main event / title scenes in 2024? Good question there. I think Sami Zayn will get even more of the bigger spotlight than he was last year as far as main event title opportunities. I can see definitely Swerve getting into those opportunities. Ricky Stark, maybe Malachi Black finally. Some of those guys off the top of my head. Those are really the ones I can think of right now, to be honest with you, Chris. With notable top guys like Orton Styles, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, LA Knight already having matches at the Royal Rumble, do you think it's more likely The Rock is in the Rumble match? Well, we have to see how that's going to go, because I know The Rock has his opinions, and The Rock he's made the tease that he's going to be making more appearances soon, so I want to see why he wouldn't be in the Rumble match, but again, it goes out to the debates out there. Does The Rock need to win the Royal Rumble match? Does he need to be in the Rumble match? Who knows? But I do believe The Rock, one way or another, will be a part of this show. Whether he wins the Rumble match or something where Roman has the main event, he wins it, right? It's the main event of the show, but The Rock comes out at the end of the show to confront him. Then you have your match at Elimination Chamber. We'll have to see. But I do believe The Rock will be at Tropicana Field when it comes to January 27th. But is he winning the Rumble match? I don't know. We'll have to see. But on that note, folks, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me for this fun edition of the Hoots Podcast. Very productive episode. I wanted to keep the attention more of the wrestling stuff this week because I wanted to, trying to remind you guys, like, I'm in a good place now. You guys been taking on this journey with me, with this weight loss stuff and like my transformation journey, and I have good days and I have bad days. This has not been an easy process for me, but it's been very rewarding in a lot of ways, and I just want to say thank you for just for the continued support and care and love for this podcast. It means the world to me, more than you ever know. So I just want to say I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy Hard to Kill this weekend if you guys are going to watch it. Make sure to check out my work at WrestlingHeadlines.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter if you like at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Josh Lopez Music. Please, if you could, like and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, as we're 4 subscribers away from 500. We are 17,000 downloads and plays away from reaching 1 million on Anchor, aka Spotify for podcasters. 17,000 away from 1 million downloads. We're almost there, guys. It was my goal to make sure that we hit 1 million before episode 400, and I think we're going to hit that mark. I really do. And we're very close from hitting that mark. And it's thanks to each and every single one of you. So I just want to say thank you for the support. It really means the world to me. And lastly, I just want to say again, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget now, you go from the countdown clock. This was 5. We go from 5 now to 4. 4 more episodes to episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. I'll be here next week to recap what happened this week in WWE and everything else in between. But with that being said, this has been episode 395 of the Hoots Podcast. I'm Joshie. I'm Brother Adam. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Yeet.